Hello, I hope you're doing well. In this video, I'm going to be talking about majors and minors and how to sign them. So the first thing I'm going to teach you how to sign is how to ask someone what their major or minor is. So if you remember, ASL has its own grammatical structure, so you keep that in mind as you are asking this question. So you would say your major, you have your dominant hand slide over the top of your non-dominant hand. So your major what? And remember to furrow your eyebrows because that means you are asking a question that you want an answer for and not a yes or no answer. So I'll do that again, voice off. And to say minor, you go underneath. So major, minor. If you're telling someone what your major is, you would say, and then you would say your major, which I'm going to show you how to do later in this video. So, ready? So, in the Google poll, a lot of you answered, so thank you so much for answering that. And I'm just going to go in order of what was listed. So the first one is archaeology. Archaeology does not have a sign, and you would have to fingerspell that, unfortunately. So, archaeology. I don't know if I spelled that right or not. That's a hard word to spell. Then the next major in the list is Spanish. So you make 2 X hand shapes with your dominant hand. If your dominant hand's your right shoulder, you'll go from your right shoulder. If you're a lefty, you'll go from your left shoulder. So Spanish. And you go over top of your non-dominant hand. Spanish. This is the same sign for Spanish class as well. Computer science. So for computer, you make a C and you hop it up your arm, or computer. And then science, you make 2 A hand shapes and act like you're pouring them in a test tube. Computer science. The next major is criminology. Criminology is actually really easy to sign. You make a C or like this, and you just tap your shoulder like a badge. Criminology. Disability services. The sign for disability is DS or disability. DS is what tends to be used more often, so disability services. I'll do that again. The next 2 majors are early childhood education and early childhood special education. For both, the early childhood would be signed the same way, so let's do that now. So early, you make an open 8 hand shape with your dominant hand, and you want to slide across your hand, parallel to your knuckles, like this. Early. Early. Be careful that you don't do it this way, because that means naked. So early childhood education. What I did there was I made an E and I faced it backwards and went to a D. Education. So for early childhood special education, you would do the same thing as early childhood, but to do special education, you make a 1 with your non-dominant hand, and with your dominant hand, you pull that up. Special, and then education would be the same sign. Moving on, entrepreneurship and small business management. Unfortunately, you would have to spell entrepreneurship, but you could sign business management by business management. You make 2 X hand shapes and you kind of alternate them. But if you want to be specific about small business management, business management. And the mouth morpheme for small is incredibly important, and you kind of round your lips a little bit to show how small. The next major is fashion merchandising. So fashion, you would do the sign for clothes. Fashion merchandising, because this is the sign for sell. Fashion merchandising. Music education, music, education. Music, education. Psychology, you take your non-dominant hand and you flip it outwards and you want it to be palm out. Psychology. Psychology. Make sure it's not palm in because this is the sign for annoy. Psychology. Psychology. Political science or journalism. This is politics. So you make a P, you make a circle and you tap it back on your head. Political science, and then for journalism, journalism. It's like the beak of a bird, but you are doing it in the palm of your non-dominant hand. So political science, journalism. Sociology, you make two S hand shapes and you just make a circle. Sociology. Software engineering, so software, you would do SW, program. SW, program. And then engineering, it's two Y hand shapes, and you twist the one that is in your dominant hand like you're measuring. So software, program, engineering. Speech language pathology is a long sign, but we'll break it down together. Speech, language, pathology. Or you might see it with a T for therapy, but both are okay, because this is a sign for help. Speech, language, pathology. So moving on to minors, some of these are majors at IUP as well, and it would be the same sign. Communications media. Communications media. Media. Communications media. Cultural competencies. So I would do the sign for culture, understand, and then fingerspell competencies to demonstrate the point, because it's not only cultural understanding, it's the competency of that understanding. So I would do cultural understanding, and then I would do competencies. Deaf studies, this is a very common minor for a lot of those in sign club. So you would do the sign for deaf studies. Deaf studies. Forensic bioscience. This, unfortunately, forensics would not have a sign, so you would fingerspell it. Forensics, or you could do forensic biology. This is the sign for biology, and I'll talk more about other classes later. Math education, the sign for math is two M's, and they kind of bump each other. The one that you should be looking at, that's the one that's closest to you, is your dominant hand. So math education. So then the math minor would use the same sign for math. And then the last minor that was on the list is violin. I would do the actual motion of strumming the violin, but then I would fingerspell violin, just because there are several instruments in the violin family. So that is the end of the list, but I also want to discuss maybe some classes. So if you remember, I showed you the sign for biology and science. The sign for chemistry would follow the same motion except with C's, and the sign for math is this, but geometry would be the same motion with G's, trig with T's, and calculus with C's. So a lot of the school subjects do the same sign and the same motion, but it's just a different hand shape based on the title of that subject. English, it's like you are like the proper Englishman. English. History. History. There are any other signs that you would like to learn, please email us if you have any ideas for future videos and newsletters. Please let us know. But thank you for listening and watching, and I hope you have a fantastic weekend and next week. Thank you. Hello again. So after I made the video for majors and minors, I was notified of a sign for forensic biology. So that's why I'm tacking that onto the end of this video. So there's two options. Biology would be signed first because of ASL structure. So biology, forensics, come from your nose and kind of brush your hand, forensics, or biology, forensics. It goes from an H to an R, forensics. Usually the first option is the one that's seen most often, but the second option is seen as well. So I'll do the first option again. So biology, forensics. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hello, so this is a few days later from the previous video. I'm just here to show you a variation in a different sign of disability services. So DA, disability services. Okay, thank you.